All right, example 3. We're going to use factoring in this one. Between videos, it's probably a good time, Nick, for you to blow your nose, or Andrew to get up and wander around the room. If you feel more comfortable wandering around your bedroom, it might make you feel more like this is a real class. Okay, so remember the way that we solve quadratic equations is to always make our equation equal to 0 and factor. You can use that same strategy here. All right, so we're going to solve cotangent x cosine squared x equals 2 cotangent x. And remember, if you want to rewrite this as cosine x squared, if that's easier, you can do that. I'm not going to do it on this one. All right, so don't start by like dividing the cosines out. You won't get the correct answers. You'll lose a solution if you do that. So remember, anytime you see an x squared in an equation, that's a quadratic, and the way to solve that is to make the equation equal to 0 and start factoring. Now, you were able to use the square roots method on the other example. So the other way, like we did on that example 2, was to take the square root of both sides. We could do that there. That was okay. Just don't start dividing by things. You'll lose a solution if you do that. So we're going to subtract 2 cotangent x from both sides. And now we have cotangent x cosine squared x minus 2 cotangent x equals 0. So now we start factoring. Start by factoring out a common term. That's where we always start if we can. So both of these contain cotangent. So we're going to factor out cotangent x. So cotangent x times cosine squared x minus 2. So we factored cotangent out of both of these, and that's what we're left with, equals 0. Now at this point, we can set both of these equal to 0 and solve these. So cotangent x equals 0 and cosine squared x minus 2 equals 0. And we can finish this one out. Add 2 to both sides. Cosine squared x equals 2. Now take the square root of both sides. Remember, you're left with a positive and a negative. So positive and negative square root of 2. So we've isolated our trig functions. Now we've got to figure out what this means. So where is the cotangent of x equal to 0? Well, cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent. So if tangent is sine over cosine, remember that cotangent equals cosine over sine. So let's look at our circle here. Oh shoot, I'm gonna have to, well, maybe I don't need to zoom out. We'll look at the top half. Because the period for cotangent is also 0 to pi. We don't need the bottom half. So we've only got zeros here, right? And here. So here, let's see, we've got cosine over sine. Cosine is x, sine is y, so x over y. So here, x, oh, sorry. Can you see that? Oh, yeah, you can. My screen's just stalling again. So here, x over y, well, that's undefined because you can't have 0 in the bottom of a fraction, so not that one. Here, x over y, 0 divided by 1, that is 0, so that one works. Here you have the same thing as we did in the beginning. You have negative 1 over 0, that's undefined, that doesn't work. So our solution is here. This is pi over 2. So at pi over 2, the cotangent becomes 0. So that means that x equals, x equals pi over 2. Again, depending on, you can keep going around that circle and making new angles, right? You can just keep going around. So pi over 2 plus any number times around that period, which would be, remember, for cotangent and tangent, the period is just the length of pi. Because the top half is going to be mirrored by the bottom half, so just pi is fine. Now this one, we have to remember that our range for sine and cosine is from negative 1 to 1. Well, the square root of 2, we don't have square root of 2 over 2. We see that on our unit circle, right? This is just positive and negative square root of 2. And the square root of 2 is greater than 1. It's, let's see, what is it? Hold on. Second. Square root 2 is, so this is about 1.414. So that's greater than 1, so this solution doesn't even work. There is no solution for this part here because it's outside of the range of the cosine function. Now I want to show you something real quick. If you wanted to check your answers with a graph, so let's say you wanted to graph and check to see if this was a solution. So we made our equation equal to 0 right here. So remember, you can graph this equation or graph this function and then look at the graph where x is 0, that's at the x-intercepts, right, to see if we did this correctly. So we're going to put this in our calculator. So we've got y equals, now there isn't a cotangent button on here, we've only got sine, cosine, and tangent, but you know that cotangent is 1 over tangent. So we're going to do 1 over tangent x, and then close your parentheses, times, going to put parentheses there. Now this will do, this makes you put in the x first and then the squared. So times cosine x, close your parentheses, and then close this again, so this whole thing, cosine x, then squared, minus 2 times cosine x. Don't forget, if you are going to square it, you got to put those parentheses around the whole cosine x, so you have double parentheses there. All right, now we're going to graph. Oh. What? Wait, I did something wrong. What did I punch in wrong? Hold on. Oh my gosh, that's not right. Oh, I know why, because I hit, did y'all catch my mistake? I hit, oh my gosh, stop. Look what I did, I'm so sorry. Here, I did cosine down here. on accident. It should have been cotangent. So let me delete that. I knew that looked wrong. All right, so this should be 2 cotangent, right? So again, that would be 2 times 1 over tangent x. Sorry about that. There, that looks better. Sorry, it's going to take a minute. What you're going to see is, obviously, trying to find pi over 2 on here is a little tricky, but if you were to, on your calculator, divide pi over 2, just do pi divided by 2, you get something, I think it's like 1.57 is about where that is. And if we wanted to zoom in, kind of, you know, around here, and look at it, you know, it's going to be close to about 1.5. This is just taking its sweet old time, isn't it? There we go. Just a little bit more than 1.5, so right about 1.57, 1.6. So we got the right answer. All right, guys. Good luck on your homework assignment. If you have questions, if you need to post a picture, you can do that. I'm hoping to have, I don't know if I'll get to it this week, but by next week, a Zoom meeting. Maybe I can do a live lesson or just a live Q&A like towards the end of the week if you have questions. Maybe I can do that this week, just a meeting for questions, fielding questions for the homework assignment. So, all right. Miss y'all. Bye.